There's an honor code people are meant to follow, not to take advantage of people who are at their most vulnerable. And I'm thinking of financial scams used on older people to drain their life savings, for example, or employees who are forced to silently put up with mistreatment at work because they need the job so badly. There's a power imbalance there. And this is something recognized across virtually all cultures, that it's a particular kind of moral crime to harm or exploit vulnerable people who in fact deserve care and protection. So this kind of violation is why so many here have CPTSD today. When you were a child and you deserve protection, that rule was violated and you weren't protected and you weren't cared for. And when this kind of harm is in your past, it can make you especially vulnerable during hard circumstances later in your life. So my letter today is from a woman I'll call Jessica, and she writes, "Hi Anna, I have post-traumatic stress disorder from childhood as well as some BPD symptoms. That would be borderline personality symptoms, which I've worked through and go to therapy for. My husband just died 7 months ago, and we have 3 young children, age 12, 10, and 7. Wow. A friend, after my husband's funeral, showed interest in me, love-bombed me, and showed sexual attraction to me. I actually met him twice and had some encounters, not full-blown sexual ones, but then after that happened, he said he just wanted to be friends, and I've now found out that he has quite a few women that he does this to. I feel very taken advantage of as a widow, and that I also fell for his garbage. Anything you could do to help me get through it would be absolutely amazing, as my self-esteem is down, and I'm also wondering how I will get through it so that I can date in the future in a healthy way." All right, Jessica. Thank you so much for writing. First of all, I am so sorry for the loss of your husband, and with your kids at that age, and the loss of their dad. You have so much on your plate right now. So let me go back and see what we have here. Your husband died 7 months ago. The kids are 12, 10, and 7. So a friend, I don't know if it was your friend, his friend, a mutual friend, after the funeral, showed interest and love-bombed and showed sexual attraction to you. So that's pretty wild. You know, if somebody were just going along in their life and they had some kids and they were a single mom and they had been through a troubling relationship and they had a fling with somebody who love-bombed them, I would say, hey, you gotta stop doing that. But Jessica, you get 100% pass. You are in one of the most vulnerable experiences a person can have, the death of your partner. And not just any partner, but the father of your 3 school-age kids. The vulnerability there is so extreme. And I'm thinking of how, you know, in ancient texts of our culture, in cowboy movies, in, you know, all of our culture recognizes that widows and orphans get treated in a special way, and that people are expected to rally and come together to make sure that they're safe and provided for. And safe and provided for does not mean having a fling after your husband's funeral. And I really, really, really don't like this person who did this. And all I can do is guess they have some sort of drinking problem or something where they are completely shut down. I don't see how you would have a friendship with somebody who was that selfish, just utter selfishness. So yeah, showed interest, love bomb, showed sexual attraction, just so inappropriate. Okay, here's this other thing. You didn't say anything about who this person was. Is this person in grief too? Is there anything that explains this terrible behavior, or are they truly just somebody to completely eradicate from your life? You said that you met him twice and you had some encounters, not full-blown sexual ones, so sounds like a bit of fooling around. And oh, thank goodness, you know, you got your experience with that. And having lost a partner myself before, the loneliness is so intense. There is a vulnerability. And that is actually, you know, when sometimes the worst decisions get made is when you're in that vulnerable place. And, you know, I'm just thankful that you didn't end up in a relationship with him of some kind. Because if he would behave that way in the beginning, he is not a picnic to be with. And you don't need that. And I'm just really proud of you. You got out and you are feeling the icky feeling, which is your conscience just telling you, and yeah, I don't feel good about this. And everything is in order. Everything is set for you. The possibility of a relationship in the future is completely there for you. But right now, it's only been 7 months. And I would just try to encourage you as warmly as I can, like, don't put pressure on yourself. So I had a partner die, and I can't remember how long it was afterwards. It was less than a year, and it was not the father of my children, and it was not a husband, so I don't mean in any way to compare the two things. Yours is just ever so much more immense, and yet mine was so unbearable all the same. And I remember going on a date with somebody early on, and I wasn't really feeling it, but I felt like I should be dating. And I remember they said, "Oh, tell me about your last relationship." And it was like, well, he died. And the tears started coming. And there I was, like, somebody was trying to get to know me. And he was so nice. And he was just so nice. And he gave me no sign. And I forget what he said, but he wasn't interested in going out a second time. And that was smart. And I'm just grateful to everybody to all of you who did not date me when I was in a bad place. Thank you. Thank you. And, you're 7 months out of the death of a husband, and I don't know if it was sudden or you went through a long illness together, but either way, there's a lot to adjust to, a lot of emotional weight. I have some friends. I'm having dinner with them tonight, actually, and they met in a bereavement group. They had each lost their spouses and met in a bereavement group and got to know each other pretty well there. And so there was sort of a symmetry there in that they both were grieving, they both understood the challenges of that, they both were on the same page about, wanting to enjoy companionship but not have to pretend that the previous person didn't exist. So that's a lovely way that some people have handled it. But time can heal this wound very gradually, and if you had childhood PTSD, you're going to have other wounds. And the trouble with pain and the trouble with trauma events in present time is they can just sort of open up the Pandora's box of old wounds, stuff that you had stuffed down really well back when you were 12 or 17 or 25, and it comes back up again. And so it's really good to have supportive people in your life, but not to have to be on your toes the way a person does to become involved in a romantic relationship. And because you have kids, any romantic relationship that you get into is only good for you if it's good for them, and that's a tall order. So you can do that, but I really recommend shielding your kids from anybody new in your life. You're not here yet, but just for future reference, give it at least a year. If you've been dating somebody a year and it's serious enough that you're there, you're really together, you're committed, then it's time to meet the kids. But just introducing kids and then the person leaves their life, another one leave their life, not good. So the kids and how they handle the loss of their dad is going to depend very much. They're going to be looking to you and kind of setting their navigation on your emotions and your stability, your ballast, your ability to balance on rocky waters. They're all looking at you. So that's your number one job. And I know it's like lonely news. You don't always want to hear it when you're grieving and lonely, and you used to have somebody to just hang out with every day, and now you don't. But there you are. I know it's exhausting now being the only parent of these 3 kids, and you're probably deprived for adult time. So I want you to prioritize having adult friends come over or going to their house. I realize you have to include the kids quite a lot of the time, but there are fellow parents and there are friends, and they want to support you, and be with those people and get that emotional friend support from people. It goes a long way to taking the pressure off from needing to have a romantic relationship again. So at least a year, maybe 2. Once it's been 2 years, if you start to feel like, it should have happened by now, you can maybe start doing something proactive. But there is time. There's time, and you have kids at a vulnerable age. And so you're all in this together. What's good for them is good for you. So I hope that helps, Elena. Thank you for writing in about this. I wanted to respond very quickly to just go, this guy, get him out. No, we don't like him. Okay. So if some of you are getting outraged by this, or you relate to what Jessica has just been through, I've got a video lined up for you, and it's about things that romantic manipulators want you to believe, and I've got that right here, and I'll see you very soon.